So finally, we're in Sodom and Gomorrah after weeks of delay. And nothing much happens in these 2 chapters, so we'll probably zip right through it.
You're being sarcastic.
Yeah,
It's kind of appalling, some of it.
yeah.
I know, we weren't reading the same chapters, were we? What
Oh,
chapters were we
that's Sodom
on?
and Gomorrah. Oh, that's a different story.
Chapters were we on?
That's a different
I know
story.
that.
Yeah, there's nowadays there's so much disagreement about what happened in Sodom and Gomorrah and why exactly Sodom and Gomorrah were wiped out. Hard to believe that there's so much disagreement over what really happened there. So we're going to dive into that tonight.
What really happened?
Well, no, there's no doubt about what really happened, but I guess why. Why? Because that's where the confusion is nowadays. Why did God really wipe out Sodom and Gomorrah?
Well, doesn't it say it in here?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
But
There's a
that
lot.
doesn't mean that that's how people read it.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to dive in there.
All right.
So let's start right at the top, the 3 visitors. What's happening here? Now there was somebody, I can't remember if it was who it was, but they said, well, is that the Trinity that they're talking about? Because 3 people appeared to Abraham. So what do you guys think?
That was you guys.
Yep.
That was
Okay.
her mom.
Okay.
Well, when she was talking it over with me, she
18.
thought that it, as you said, represented the Trinity in just another form. Obviously, it wasn't Jesus at the time or whatever, but another showing of God in 3 parts.
Okay.
Well, this Bible says that the 3 men, the one was the Lord and the other 2 were angels. That's what it says. Whether it's right or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's how I took it, but that's an interesting thought, though.
Yeah, because there's a lot of times in the Bible where we do see the Trinity come in. Genesis, for one, where God says, "Let us make man in our image." He didn't say, "I'm going to make man in my image." And then he talks about further on in Genesis, he talks about the Spirit. The Spirit flew over the waters. So right there, we see the Trinity pop up. The Father, not Jesus right away, but the Spirit is there too. And in this case, it is God the Father, or God, because I'm not really sure. And then in verse 19:1, it tells us that it's angels.
Well, in this chapter 18, like on, I think in chapter, or 10, verse 10, it said, they said, "Where is your wife?" They asked him, and then he said, "In the tent." Then the Lord said, "Next year I will give you." So that, to me, that meant one of those 3 was the Lord, because
Right.
he spoke.
Yep.
Right.
And
As the Lord.
18:1 says the Lord appeared to Abraham near the great trees.
And the key is, let's take a look at 18:1. Lord is capitalized in all caps. And whenever we see that, we know it's God. Later on, in verse 3, we see Lord lowercase. So there, when I get confused, I go online to the Hebrew Interlinear Bible, and there you can see what it really was in the original language. And there the difference was, Lord in all caps is Yahweh, which is God, and Lord, the lowercase, in verse 3 is Adonai, which could be another way of saying God, but also another way of just saying somebody that's higher than me, or a Lord. So that's where we get the difference. Interlinear Hebrew Bible, Interlinear Greek Bible, they're all free online. So if you guys ever want to see what the true text said, or the original text.
Well, so then maybe Abraham didn't know that was God. Because it said, he said, "My Lord," and not caps. So maybe he didn't realize it was God.
Well,
very
because
possible.
they say they were strangers. Or 3 visitors. He didn't.
But he must have thought they were at least kind of holy, for sure.
I don't think he did recognize them just from the way it reads, at first, anyway.
But he had just been talking to him in the covenant
Did he
of
say
circumcision
that
part.
in verse 3, it's not capitalized?
Right.
Right, yeah. Does your Bible have it capitalized?
Mm-hmm.
In verse
Ah,
3,
okay.
what's yours have been?
So my Lord,
No, mine's
Yeah,
lower too.
if I have
Okay.
found favor in your
Mine's
eyes,
lower.
my Lord, do not pass your servant by.
Okay, and Dean, what version do you
Yeah.
have?
The English
English
See, mine
Standard?
three doesn't
Yeah.
even have
Okay.
the word Lord in it.
So whenever we see a disagreement, another tool we could use is Bible Gateway. And you could look up a single verse, you can get all the English versions, all English translations, and you can see what it says. And that's a really good tool.
what was it again?
It's called Bible Gateway.
Gateway.
It's one word.
Verses 3 and 4 for me.
I remember one time I was doing
Lord in it.
a sermon on Matthew, where it talks about the wheat and the weeds. So I'm reading about the wheat and the weeds, and I said, well, any farmer should know the difference between wheat and weeds. So I got confused. So I went to Bible Gateway, and in the New King James and the Old King James, it says tares, T-A-R-E-S. I said, what in the world is a tar? So a tar is a type of weed that looks just like wheat as it's young. You can't tell it's different until it's old, until it grows up
Mature.
to maturity.
I didn't know that.
And when you rip out the tars, it's attached to the wheat. You would be pulling up the wheat also. So that's why Jesus said, let them grow up together, and then I'll separate them. So amazing things in the Bible. So when we have questions, do a little bit more research. Check out the original language on the web or Bible Gateway and see what the different versions say. So we got our first thing cleared up between Lord and Lord. What else do we have? In verse 2, we already know we have 3 men. We have God and 2 angels.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, this probably isn't that important, but I just kind of think like the passage of time or something, because supposedly they were just going to come there to rest for a while,
Uh-huh.
and yet they had a calf, they went out, the servant, got the calf and prepared it,
Yeah.
now, and then they ate it. Now, did they eat it raw, or did they stay there quite a long time? I mean, that just seems kind of odd.
about being prepared.
Yeah, he even had Sarah run in and make some bread.
Yeah.
And
Like,
it was the nice bread, not just it was kneaded.
Yeah.
yeah,
It was a
This
better
says roast
bread.
veal
Uh-huh.
in
It
mine.
wasn't
Yes,
roast
it was.
veal.
Roast veal
Wow.
in my particular.
So how,
They must have cooked
They
it
were there a
somehow.
while.
last
they
So
were
they
there
were there
a
a
while,
while.
yeah, right.
So, Donna Joe, where does yours say roast? What verse?
Let's see, I think
8.
it's 8. Soon taking them cheese and milk and the roast veal, he set it before the men and stood beneath the trees beside them as they ate.
Okay.
Well, veal would be calf.
And
Yeah,
mine says calf.
Yeah, I have
That
calf.
would be- that would be
But it
veal.
says
Yeah,
that
which he
had
had
been
prepared.
prepared, so
Yeah.
they didn't eat it raw.
So they spent a
Yeah, I know it.
Yay!
They were there a while.
right. They spent a lot of time.
No beef tartare.
Yeah, right.
Well, they so they had to spend the night. I mean, they were tired after you eat, right?
Well, what another thing that makes you think they were there a while, in my Bible on verse 6, it says, Abram says to Sarah, get 3 seahs of the finest flour and knead it and bake some bread. And my study Bible says that's 36 pounds.
Oh, gee.
See
I
us?
wondered what that was.
Yeah.
And mine it says about 20 quarts
Mine's,
or
yeah,
22
some
liters.
say 12 quarts.
Okay, so that's a lot. That's a
That's
lot.
a lot.
That's a lot
Gee.
of flour.
Mine on verse
Sarah's gonna be
16 said,
tired.
then the man stood up from their meal and started towards Sodom. And Abraham went with them part of the way. So they must not have spent the night. They must have got up after the meal and headed toward the city.
Well, and I guess it doesn't say what time of day they ate, does it?
No, it doesn't.
It could be the main meal of the day is the midday
It says
meal.
afternoon, one hot afternoon as he was sitting in the tent.
Yeah, it says
He
in the
noticed 3
heat
men.
of the day, so it's probably at least afternoon.
Yeah,
So it is dinner.
well, or early,
I
Yeah.
mean, by the time you do the bread and the calf and the
all of
See, I
that.
think timing is different in the Bible.
Yeah,
I mean, how long they live and all that. I mean, the
Yeah,
same way
that's
for a
true.
short amount of time.
but that's,
One of the notes I ran across was a calf was a rare and added luxury provided for distinguished visitors, and 3 measures was the fellowship offering
Ah, okay.
for Jewish and Arabic traditions.
Now, in my footnotes, it says, he prepared a lavish meal for them, and apparently lavish offering was presented to the divine messenger. So he knew these were special people. Because he knew that something was different about them, and
Well, since he called him Lord, even though it was not the capitalized one,
Mhm.
I mean, that was still like somebody higher up, right?
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah.
What
But
would
the
be
Lord had
the,
appeared to him in chapter 17,
Yes.
and he seemed to know who he was then, so did he come in a different form, or?
Don't you think he does sometimes?
Yeah, I think so.
I do.
Well, I
He
know he's
decided to
capable
be
of
a
it.
tall guy this time, and I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, something like that.
Well, that's kind of why the footnotes of this Bible said that they thought it might be Jesus, and that's why he didn't recognize, he came in the form of Jesus, and that's why he didn't recognize him. One of the times that Jesus appears in the Old Testament.
Oh.
But that's just a guess
Yeah.
on their part.
Well, and is this about the same time where he tells Sarah she's going to have a baby?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yep. Right.
yes.
Right after it.
We're there in the tent. He's so good. Where's your wife, Sarah? There in the tent. Hmm.
any significance on curds and milk?
Hmm.
You kind of understand the bread and you
Chunk
understand the
old
meat.
milk, chunky milk. I don't know.
Well, curds,
Curds like
Curds of cheese, isn't it?
yeah.
curds are
Yeah,
like
it's the
curds
top
and
of
whey is
the-
like cottage
top of the
cheese.
cheese.
So yeah, it'd be kind of like
Yeah.
Yeah, my
cheese.
book doesn't say a word about that.
Little bit extra in verse 8, hon. You don't have curds?
Yeah, I do, but
Okay.
the footnotes, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well,
Mine
some-
just says cheese and milk, so it doesn't say curds.
Okay.
Oh, so that was it.
So it's got
Well,
a different.
curds are
The top
already
part.
processed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're cheese
the
already.
start of the cheese.
Only in little chunks.
I
Yeah,
bet they
the
weren't
chunks.
deep fried. I'm
So
just
maybe
kidding.
it's like cottage cheese, where it's like a mixture between the two.
Yeah.
It's starting to turn into cheese. Good stuff.
Maybe under the hot sun. Sorry.
Yeah, not a buttermilk.
Yeah.
Bowl commercial.
Oh, yes, that was that one.
And so God is still with Abram and Sarah in verse 13. And then I just get amazed at Abram and Sarah. They get away with so much.
Yeah, I do
I wanted
too.
them to be.
It's like it looks like they're having dinner with some good friends when they laugh.
Yeah.
Like that's a good joke.
So Sarah laughed because she just didn't hardly believe it.
Oh no, she's
Yeah.
well, she's not 100 yet because Abram
Right.
was 100, but she figures, why now?
Yeah.
How could you do this?
After I wore out in my my
A
master
woman my
is
age
old.
to have a baby and with a husband as old as mine.
Yeah.
She laughs. But it said she laughed silently. Well, now, she must have had some sort of a little chuckle, and they're like, oh, yeah, right. You know,
And then she says, "No, I didn't laugh."
she lied.
Yeah, she
So,
lied.
so she laughs at God, then she lies.
Then she lies. And then he
he's-
still lets
and
her.
still lets her slide.
It says that she was afraid,
Yeah.
so she knew that she had messed up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's immediate. Oh no, I didn't just do that.
Right.
She has a good sense of
Came
humor.
out
I like
yeah.
Sarah.
Backtracking a second,
Yes.
when Abraham bowed low and offered to wash their feet, is that kind of like a tradition?
Yeah, that was a tradition back then because they didn't often wear sandals, and that was like the epitome of being a good host. You would really take care of your guests. You would wash their feet, make them feel comfortable, because they're walking around in the desert sand all day, so their feet are probably real hot and smelly. So Abram went to the extra effort and washed their feet. So
Well, this Bible says, let a little water be brought, and then you may all wash your feet.
oh,
I think that's the way that mine reads.
okay. So what verse was that?
3, 4,
Yeah.
4.
Okay, so let's see what do we have.
Water be
And
brought
wash
and
your-
wash your feet.
And then
Rest
you may
yourselves
all wash
under
your
the tree.
feet. Yep. Let a little water be brought.
Sounds
Yeah.
like they're
I think
going to do
they
their
did.
own feet.
So, I mean,
And
they
then you
wash
may all
each
wash
other's
your
feet
feet. Okay.
as
So-
respect and honor, I think.
So once again, the different versions of the Bible, some are word for word translations, and some are thought for thought translations. It depends on which Bible we use.
This is true.
And if we really want to find out, we'll go to the Hebrew Interlinear Bible and find out what it said back then.
So towards the end of verse 8, he stood while they ate. So Abraham did not eat with them. He just stood under a tree and watched.
Sounds like it, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's what I read.
That's kind of strange.
Well, it was the meal
somewhere
for the
I read
guests.
that would be the sign of that he was more or less the waiter. I mean, he was
Their
the servant
servant.
in
So
that
they were the
case.
honored guest, right?
Yeah.
So Sarah wasn't allowed out of the tent to help serve, huh?
He was assuming the posture of a servant
Yeah.
to meet their every wish. That's what, yeah, you're right.
Yep, she was just that.
You're right, Jeanette, that's what mine says too.
You're back. That's what you need.
She's just a
Over
kitchen
here.
help.
I do need to sit there.
You need a Tumblr chair.
Well,
You don't like it.
All
Can
right.
I just ask you a question from the last one? Why did he, well, I shouldn't say why because we don't always know that, but the name changed from Abram to Abraham and Sarai to Sarah?
Well-
Was there a reason? I might have missed that.
Yeah,
last week.
in Abram's case, Abram was father of a great nation, and Abraham was father of nations.
Okay,
So he pluralized it there.
okay.
And then that's when we found out that Abram had two sons. Well, he had Ishmael at the time, then he was going to have Isaac.
Mhm.
And then that's when we found out that Ishmael was the father of the Muslim nation. So Abram, when you look at, Abraham, when we look at him, he's now the father of the Jewish people, the Muslims, and the Christians.
Okay.
So he's father of nations.
So there was a reason, it was
Yep.
just not a whim that he just wanted to
Right.
change the name.
Yep.
Okay.
God's purpose for everything.
What was his purpose then for Sari? To
I
change
can't
it to
remember. I'd
Sarah?
have to check that out.
It said
Okay.
she called her Sarah Princess, so I don't know, maybe.
Well, she was gonna be the mother of nations.
Right.
Oh, so that's why he changed it.
She was gonna be the mother of nations. That's what it says in my Bible. She'll be
Okay.
the mother of nations.
I think that's
Hmm.
what it was.
I didn't mean to take you backtrack,
Oh,
but I
no,
just
that's
had
fine.
that question
Sure.
written down and I thought, well,
While we're
Why?
on the topic of last time, I did look up the
Thank you.
8th-day circumcision, and the only thing that I was really able to find was that basically science proves that God had this grand masterpiece of a plan that from, I believe it said day 5 through 7, our vitamin K is growing to be able to clot our blood. And on day 8, we have another clotting vitamin called prothrombin, I believe. And that is the only day in a man's natural life on day 8 where he has over 100% of prothrombin in his body,
Wow.
that it is the safest day to
a
have
miracle.
circumcision because of the clotting factors.
there's a reason for everything.
That's a
isn't there?
miracle. That's
yeah, they
incredible.
don't do that today.
No.
On day 8, do they?
Well,
Well,
No,
Well,
it was
we
like
heard
day
that
that they
2.
give them
Huh?
vitamin K as soon as they're born.
Yeah.
That's what I heard anyway.
Vitamin
Okay,
K.
so now they have the chemicals to actually do what God
Interesting,
intended.
yeah. That's
'Cause-
interesting.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Thank
Very
you,
much
that was
so.
good.
That's cool.
Yeah.
God's plan for everything.
Wow.
Good thing he gave us good brains.
Yeah.
We wouldn't figure it out.
And a sense of humor.
Yes, right.
Sorry.
Gotta find mine.
Just don't laugh at him.
I'm not going to, no.
Sarah did, but I think she got by with it, but
Yeah, how did she get away with
he
that?
must like,
He must like them. They
She's
look.
the mother of the nations.
Yeah, there you
She's gonna
go.
be.
She probably figures they've been through a lot. He's ready to put them through more. So go ahead, laugh it up.
I think everything that comes through these first 19 chapters here points to the fact that God's with you even when you screw up, and even when you're not perfect, and even though you're going to question things, that it really points to me that He expects you to question what's there, and He wants you to, because He'll reaffirm it if you let Him. So,
but
that's-
I had a little trouble with 12 when Abram that was his name then, was telling everybody that Sarai was his sister.
Oh,
Because
back
he
at
did
chapter
not-
12.
Yeah, back to 12. But the Pharaoh, is that right, did not know that because he'd been told it was his sister, and she said it's my brother, and yet the Pharaoh was the one that got the brunt of the deal, even though Abram and Sarai probably stretched the truth.
But it's a half-truth.
Well, yeah, he was a half-sister. She was a
Right,
half-sister.
yeah.
But he was doing it to preserve his own life.
Save his own skin, yeah.
Yeah, but the good Lord didn't actually come down and say, Abram, that's not right, don't do that. He went to the Pharaoh and said, look what you've done. I didn't know. Hello. And he does it again, I believe, in the next
Yeah, he
chapter over
does.
here.
Yeah.
He does it
Couple
again.
chapters ahead, he does the
Yeah,
same thing.
he
with
does it
Amalek.
again. And I'm
He
looking
does.
at this, and like you said, Abram must have been beloved
Yeah.
to have gotten, would I want to say gotten by with these things, or,
Must have done something
Where-
special.
Does it
well, he was
show-
chosen one.
Or where does it say that that is his half sister? Because I did read ahead and then I was confused by that, so I
Yeah.
tried to go
In the
back
beginning.
and find it.
It was,
But-
it's late, it's
I don't
later
know if
on.
I've got
where
it
we
written
do
down
see
or
that
not.
She is his sister.
I
Oh,
had
that's
read-
yeah,
right.
yeah,
She's
Where
his
it
half
was-
sister. They have the same father, don't they?
yeah, chapter 20, verse 12.
But it says it earlier too, I think.
Besides, she really is my sister, the daughter of my father, though not of my mother, and she became my wife.
Right. And when I went back, it, at least where I had read, it didn't say that.
Yeah, I don't think we find out earlier, because let's,
Do we find out?
Hard to-
I don't remember
let's
that.
go,
I thought we did.
let's go back to Genesis 12:12.
I thought,
No, it does say that that's my sister.
Yeah, but we don't find out
Yeah,
that that's
but-
his half-sister.
Oh, no, not till 20.
Because I don't remember when.
oh, I read that.
Let's see. Genesis
Yeah,
12,
so
12.
check Genesis 12, verses 12 and 13. And,
Isn't it?
yeah, I don't think it's detailed there that he is
It says, say you are my sister,
the half-sister.
but it doesn't.
No, it doesn't use the word half.
It doesn't even say it is, it just say that.
Yeah, my footnote says that she's his half-sister, but the Bible doesn't tell us that yet. Unless, Donna Joe,
I
you
don't
have
know,
a
it seemed
different...
like I read that somewhere, but maybe it
13.
was in one of the,
Say you are my sister, so that I will be treated well.
In chapter 12,
Yeah.
verse 13?
Mm-hmm.
Just
Yeah.
say it.
But
Say-
just say it. He doesn't,
Say
he doesn't
you.
explain it there.
Are my sister.
okay, it does. In my Bible, back in 11, meanwhile Abram married his half-sister Sarai,
Ah,
while
okay.
his brother Nahor married their orphaned niece Micah.
Where'd you see that at, Donna
It's
Jo?
in
Chapter 11?
chapter 11,
Yeah.
verse 29. I knew I had read that somewhere
Well, there you go.
before
Yeah.
we got to this point, but that was where they was so many, this was somebody's son, and this one was, Abram, by the time Terah was 70, he had 3 sons, Abram, Nahor, and Haran. And then it says in the next verse,